is involved with. Good evening, ladies.
How are you?
Okay, thank God.
Hello.
All right, today we're starting with Tefillin. Okay. Okay, so starting Tefillin. Okay, so it says in the Torah, so he says, you see that word? After he puts on tzitzit, he says, Yaniach tefillin, you gotta put tefillin. Miyad, right away, he says. K'dei shehu metzuvin lo, metzuvin bo b'shat kriyat shema, tefillah. Why? Because we want it to be on him when he does kriyat shema and tefillah. The Amar Rabbi Yochanan, says Rabbi Yochanan, harotze lekabel alav od malchut shamayim shlema. If you want to really accept the yoke of heaven, whatever, the kingdom of heaven, Yifaneh ve'itol yadav. First of all, go to the bathroom, right? When you go in the morning, then wash your hands, ve'aniach tefillin, and then put tefillin, ve'ikra kriyat shema, and it says kriyat shema, ve'itpalel, and then he prays. Ve'amar ula, kol hakoreh kriyat shema belo tefillin, says ula, if you read kriyat shema without tefillin, keilu made edu sheker b'atzmo, it's like you're testifying false testimony by himself, right, on himself, whatever. Rabbi Chia, why is that, by the way? What's the reason why? Because you're saying to put tefillin, but you don't have tefillin. So it says in Kriyat Shema to put tefillin, you don't have it. That's the reason why. Rabbi Chia Rabbi Yochanan says, this rabbi says, Keilu ikrib olah belo mincha. It's like bringing an olah, which is like a sacrifice without the meal offering. In other words, you don't do it the proper way, in the proper, with the proper, with all the elements, all the proper elements. Belo mincha zevach, Belo nesachim or zevach, or you bring a sacrifice without libations. But if he went to the bathroom, he washed his hands, he put tefillin, and then he prayed, right? What does that mean, prayed, by the way? It means the Amidah. It's like he built, as if he built an altar, and he brought all the sacrifices on it. As it says, go, you learn from that pasuk. Okay, good. I don't know exactly how we learn it from that pasuk exactly, but anyway, let's go on. It doesn't explain it really. Maybe the Bet Yosef will explain.
Let's keep
So I
on.
guess it's the end of it, right? Okay, that's the end of it. That's already to Bet.
Yeah, yeah. The next one is Gimel. so-
Okay, let's go to Bet Yosef.
Nice heating system. Quick,
Ah,
very quick.
okay, so it says in Bet Yosef, right? It says, "Mitoch divrei Rabbeinu nireh." So you learn from the words of Rabbeinu, the Torah. שבתחילה מתעטף בציצית. First he puts on ציצית, ואחר כך מניח תפילין, then puts תפילין. לכן כתוב בנימוקי יוסף, that's what's up בנימוקי יוסף, בהלכות ציצית. In the laws of ציצית. מצוות ציצית שקולה כנגד כל המצוות. So why is that, by the way? Why first it's ציצית? So he says, because since the ציצית is weighed against all the mitzvot, like it says, מנחות, מן ג' עמוד ב', ראוי להקדים, it should come first. ועוד שהיא תדירה יותר, and also it's more frequent, right? So what does that mean, frequent? On Shabbat, right? We don't put tefillin, but we put tzitzit, so it's more frequent. שנוהגת בין בכל בין Shabbat. It applies whether it's a weekday or Shabbat. ביום טוב, and also יום טוב, ותדיר, ושאינו תדיר, so when you have two things, one more common than the other, תדיר קודם, always the more common one comes first. This is the rule in halakha, you know, the general rule. The more frequent one comes first. Very well known. Okay, so then he goes on. I found over there, it says in this book, same thing. Afterwards, he writes, that's the language. So he says, the ones that are putting talit gadol, since it's like the way to put it on top of all the clothing, right? It comes last, right? So he says, "V'shenatnu miktorehem berashehem," and they already put also their hat on their head, or whatever it is, something, whatever. Mitzvat tefillin ba'a lefanav. So mitzvat tefillin comes before it. So in other words, according to this opinion, the tefillin comes before talit gadol. You understand? Why? Because it's large and the last thing on top goes on top of everything. First, we bless on that. The fish why? Because we shouldn't pass over the mitzvot, it says. So it says, even the ones who only put talit katan. They should put it on top of their clothing. To uphold this pasuk. You shouldn't stray after your eyes, after your heart. So it says, I don't understand his words, he says. How does the tefillin come before? Because he put all his clothing, don't put on his head the hat, as opposed to putting it later, after tzitzit, how is he going to be passing over the mitzvot like that? In other words, what is passing over the mitzvah means like this, right? That you have two thing mitzvot, you know, and you stretch your hand over one and you went to the other. You should have taken this one, you know, because you were passed over it.
But even if
So what does that have to do with here? That's what he's asking, right? What's the connection?
Well, what's the Rabbi like? I think the common one is that tefillin is on top of the.
Yeah, in the bag, right? Exactly. That's the whole thing. Yeah, in the
So you
tik. Yeah.
can't take out the tefillin, put it down, and take the talit.
So you're passing over the tefillin. That's what you're doing. It's according to what it's saying. You understand?
Is that the halacha?
Yeah, you shouldn't pass over it. It should be in a. By the way, just a good advice. You know, it should be in a bag like this that you can take the tzitzit without passing over the tefillin. You know what I mean? Like.
No, it's on top.
Right. So you got to move it. You're passing over it.
I'm just picking it up.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. Not a good idea. What I do is I put them side by side. You know, this way. You know, that's what I do.
Oh, you got a big bag.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, one of those new fashion ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, those new fashions. Now that's the new moda. You know what I'm talking about? Those big bags.
Yeah.
The zipper.
But even though
Okay,
it's double enclosed, like the covers on the
Still,
tefillin?
you're passing over. That's what he's saying. Okay, well, it's a point to understand, right?
Mhm.
So the truth is, the proper way to do it is to put them side by side. So this way, you don't have to pass over one to get to the other. Okay, we'll talk about that. So, Umash Katav B'Shem Sefer Eirav. So that's not what you wrote in the name of this book. Who b'talit katan? He's talking about talit katan. About talit gadol. But talit gadol. Achar hanachat tefillin. After putting tefillin, katav shemitatef bo. Then he wears it. Katav Agur B'Shem Sefer Zohar. Oh, so Agur says in the name of the Zohar. Sheisur gadol mi shemaniach tefillin kodem debishat tzitzit. Right? According to Zohar, it's a big no-no to put tefillin before tzitzit. Right? No. How did you do that? The Zohar tells you, right? It gives you a big no-no. Okay, so Ad Kana Shano, right? So according to Kabbalah, this is not the proper way to do it. Especially also same thing with the Arizal, right? The Arizal says the tefillin has to, the tzitzit has to come first. Talit has to come before the tefillin. That's very well known. Benireli, so it seems to me, Shkatav ken mishum deita besefer Zohar. So it seems to me that because you said it's because of the Zohar, what it says there, the sub Parshat Bamidbar. It says Bamidbar Sinai. Okay, I don't know why he brings the word Sinai over here. usually, I guess it's the way they said it in those days. Bamidbar Sinai.
That's the famous place.
Today we say Bamidbar, right? Okay. Okay, so it says Beshata Devar Nash. It says this is the language of the Zohar, right? The Beshata Devar Nash when a person gets up, says, right, gets up in the morning. So first he has to clean himself, right? His body, right? Levatar יקבל עליה עול לפרשה על רשע פירשו דמצוות levatar, right? So it says after you clean yourself, next step is what? To put the something to put on your head. It says, right? יקבל עליה עול לפרסה על רשע. Spread it over your head. פירשו דמצווה. It's probably talking about the talit. To put the talit over your head, right? Something like that.
Mhm.
We'll see. The batar, afterwards, it says, Itkashar kishura de yichuda, the inhut tefillin, and then the tefillin, right? That comes, so yeah, must be talking about talit, right? So talit comes first, then the tefillin, according to Zohar Kadosh, the shamati b'shem gedolei mekubalei Sfarad. Look what it says, right? It says, I heard from the big mekubalim in Sfarad, right? Which is Spain.
Mhm.
The Spanish mekubalim, right? As opposed to the Israeli mekubalim, right? Who he went to later on. Tzfat. Okay? So why do I tell you that? Because they have different masorah, these people. Not the same masorah, The ones in Spain did not learn the Torah of the Arizal. They had their own traditions. You know what I mean? So therefore they had different ideas. You're gonna see right now, right? I'm sorry.
That Ramban was a
Right, Ramban was one of them, right? But the Ramban was way before, Maran Bet Yosef, right? He was so we're talking about some guys after that, right? After the Ramban. You know what I mean? So he says, I heard in their name, Shemisha Eno Talit Katan, whoever doesn't have Talit Katan, but Yaniach Talit, so should put Talit anyway. And then Tefillin. Right? So in other words, first the Talit. That's what they're saying, right? According to the Zohar, this is a big no-no. No.
Wait, they saying talit first.
Huh?
They're saying talit first.
Let's see what it says. No, look what it says, right? Misha Eno Talit Katan. Right. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. But we're going to see that's not the same. I'll show you in a second. So this is Badai Yanin Talit Katan. Talit, first Talit and then Tefillin. Aber Misha Labash Talit Katan. But whoever has Talit Katan, Yaniach Tefillin Tchila. First put the Tefillin before Talit Gadol. This is what I meant to say, right? ואחר כך יתעצף לתת גדול, נוצרים טעם לשבח. They give also reasons for that, right? According to Kabbalah, the mystical things, right? שהרי כיוון שלבשו טלית קטן, ואחר כך הניחו תפילין, since he put טלית קטן first, and then he put תפילין, הרי כבר קיימו דברי הזוהר. You already did the Zohar, he says, right? Because I put טלית before תפילין. There you go, right? It's a big brainstorm, right? Yeah. But the Arizal says, no. The Arizal says, no, you can't do it that way. You have to first put the talit gadol, and then it's tefillin. That's how we do today, right? That's how we have today.
But why do you even need two baggage?
I'm sorry?
You already have one.
You don't. It's just that we put that one all day, So what are you going to do? Take it off? What's the point, Why should you take it off? You know, like,
No, but it's logically already fulfilled the mitzvahs. It's it. You put on the
okay, right. So truth is, right, according to Kabbalah, you need the big one as well. There's a different thing. It has a different quality, the big one, according to Kabbalah. You can't do the quality of the small one with the big one. You know what I mean? So it's two different things.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
But the small one, it was not even an obligation before, right? They just wore the big one as a regular begging.
It's minhag, yeah, it's minhag, whatever, you know. But everybody does it today, whatever. Okay, so anyway, right, according to Kabbalah, everything has its own purpose, you know, everything is very specific. So, therefore, it says, right, so we'll be machloket between the Spanish Mekubalim and the Arizal, right, basically, that's what it is, right? Okay, very good. As I told you before, like one time, I think I mentioned it, that many of the Mekubalim, you know, mentioned, like the later generations, that the only Kabbalah we learn today is of the Arizal. In other words, it's considered to be the most authentic Kabbalah, you know? So all the other ones, we just like kind of like left it behind. You know what I mean? They even say that they don't even read those books, you know, the Dafka don't want to read them because they think that there's mistakes in there. You know, so
But they came before,
yeah, I'm sorry, what are you saying?
they came before they were closer to the source, no? Right?
There is no source. That's the whole thing, you know. With Kabbalah, there is no source because all the sources got lost. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing. Yeah, it keeps getting refreshed every, you know, once in a while. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Kabbalah got lost, and then came Rabbi Shimon and retrieved a lot of it. You know, whatever. They say, by the way, that he even got more things that they didn't even have before. Whatever. Rabbi Shimon got more things. That's a whole discussion in itself. I don't want to get into that now, but anyway, right? How is that possible, right? Whatever. Okay, so anyway, right? Then again, it got forgotten, right? The Kabbalah, you know, got phased out because it was all oral, you know. There was no written stuff, you know, not really much written. But the truth is, you can't write the whole Kabbalah; it's too big, you know. So there's no way to really write it. We write as much as we can, you know, but you can't really write the whole thing. You need somebody to teach it to you, basically, you know. There's no way to learn by yourself the Kabbalah. There's no self-taught Kabbalist, no such a thing like that. You can be a self-taught Talmudist, yes, you can learn Talmud. If you're very bright, if you're very, you know, very genius, you know, you can learn by yourself Talmud. But Kabbalah, there's no way to learn it. There's no way to. You don't even have a chance, you know.
Books? I mean,
No, books will not do it.
They didn't have books back then.
Yeah, even the books that we have today will not do the job. You know, not even close. Because you can't even understand what they're saying. You know, I mean, you read them, you know, like what's going on here? You know, sounds like some kind of a, you know, it sounds like Chinese basically. You know, you're reading some kind of Chinese book. That's what it sounds like. Right? All kinds of codes, all kinds of stuff. You don't even know what it is. So you need somebody to teach you Kabbalah. There's no way to learn Kabbalah. So why do I tell you that, by the way? Because you have to know that if you don't have a Rebbe to teach you, like don't even, you know, try to learn Kabbalah by yourself. It's not going to work. I mean, you know, it's wasting your time. You know, you can learn the books, you know, like that's one thing, you know, to memorize them, you know, to get, but that doesn't mean you know Kabbalah. You know what I mean?
I guess it's about finding the Tao's gate of reincarnation.
Shar Gilgulim, yes.
I think it's useful for the laws.
Very spooky.
Just reading the aerosol, you can compare the laws with Bet Yosef and other.
Yeah, there are some laws you can compare, you know, here and there, but it's the book is incredibly encoded. See, the thing is like this: when you read it in a translation, you're not really getting the whole thing there. You know what I mean? It's like you can't translate the Arizal. There's no way to translate it because it's all codes. So what you see in the translation is not really what's there. You know what I mean? So you have to understand that it's very, very far away from what's really there. Some, you know, person who translated it, by the way, who has no permission, by the way, to translate those things. There's no permission to translate it. So, you know, he did a sin by doing that, by translating it, and he doesn't even know how to do it properly, you know. And then you read it and you say, "Oh, this is what the Arizal said." Oh, okay, that's not what the Arizal said. That's not even close. Okay, that's the way it is. We live in Olam HaSheker, the world of lies, right? Everything is a lie today. So the only way to really understand the Arizal is to first read the original text, number one. Number two, to have somebody to explain it to you. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get much from them. Okay, but yeah, you're right. The halachot, maybe, you know, you can get a little bit, you know, just the basic halachot that he brings down there, customs, all kinds of things, But even that, with translation, I wouldn't trust it. You have to read it in the original language, Good idea, yeah. How are you, David? How are you feeling? God bless. All right, it's very nice. So let's go on. So it says, so Spanish Mekubalim said like that. So Maran didn't learn, as we said, right? He didn't learn the Torah of the Arizal. So therefore, he took the Spanish Mekubalim, whatever they said. He took what he had, basically, right? That was the only thing on the menu. There was nothing else.
What are we studying today?
I'm sorry?
What are we studying today?
We're starting Tefillin today. Tefillin. You know that little thing, those little boxes, Okay. All right, those little things there. Okay. All right, good. So let's go on, right? ואם היו רוצים לכל קריאת שמע תפילה ולא תפילות תפילין, איך אחר זה לשם אשר כבר קצת ציצית תפילין מעליהם. So he says, therefore they can already pray like that because they have tzitzit already. ואם אחר כך מתעטפים בטלית, and afterwards they're going to bring טלית גדול, right? אחר, or בכמה טליתות, or several טליתות, אינם עניין המצוות תפילין. So that has nothing to do with תפילין already. Interesting. According to these מקובלים. Has nothing to do with tefillin. Interesting, right? According to the Arizal, as we say, it does have to do very much so with the tefillin, with the whole system there, the whole marechet. So he says, but what's the minhag? He says, first we do tzitzit. There you go. Right now we're going to talk about your issue. So he says, according to their minhag, if you put a bag with tefillin, the talit, the tok kis echad, you put it into one bag. Tefillin and talit, right? That's exactly what you asked. Tzrichim lizaher, you have to be careful. Shelo yasimu kis tefillin lemala. Don't put the tefillin on top. As we said, right? It's going to be a problem because you got to move it and take the talit. Right? You're not allowed to do that. You're passing over the mitzvah. You know what I mean? You're passing over the mitzvah tefillin. כדי שלא יפגע בהם תחילה ויצטרך להנחם קודם לציפת ציצית. So what you got to do is, if you already touched the tefillin, you're gonna have to put it first before the talit. You don't want that.
So
you can't pass over it.
Well, we put on the talit first.
Right, exactly. So therefore, the talit should be within reach in your bag without having to move the tzitzit. You know what I mean? So that's why I told him. I said I put it side by side. This way I don't have to move one, take the other, side by side, right? Instead of up and down, instead of floors, right? The floor method. Right.
Question for you though.
Yeah.
Can we put on actually the tefillin with just tzitzit without the talit?
Right, that's exactly what we just talked about. Are you talking about for prayers, or are you talking about for Ansher Stam?
Just for prayers. I'm doing my Shema Israel, my Shemona Esrei, the Chodesh Li.
Right, so you should put tzitzit first, right?
Put tzitzit.
Yeah, and then tefillin.
Tefillin, but I don't have to put on the talit necessarily.
So you got both of them. You got the tzitzit katan, and you got the talit. You got both.
Yeah.
So according to the custom today, we put first the tzitzit katan, because that's undershirt, right?
Undershirt.
Right, and then we put the tzitzit talit gadol, and then it's tefillin. That's how we do it today.
Yeah, but can we do it without the
You shouldn't. I mean, according to the custom today, then we don't do it that way. Unless you're in a big hurry, you got to go. As there are things like this. People are going to work. They don't have time. For all that stuff. So I'm not talking about that case, right? I'm talking about when you have time.
Yeah.
To do a good, nice, normal prayer, right? You have a half hour, you have an hour, right? Whatever. So then you should do it in the right sequence. God bless. Okay. So all right, good. So don't go over the mitzvot. That's why you shouldn't put the tefillin on top, as we said, right? Oh, look what it says, right? Even though regarding tefillin, it's not exactly the same. What does that mean? Let's say you have the head tefillin and the arm, right? Shel rosh, shel yad. So if you touched first the shel rosh, should you put the first one on the head because you're passing over the mitzvah? That's the question, right? That's what he's asking here. So he says no. Even if you touch first the rosh, put it aside and put the yad first.
So it doesn't matter how you put them inside the bag.
Right. Regarding the tefillin, it does matter. You shouldn't do it that way, but I'm saying if it happened, you gotta put it aside.
So
it shouldn't be that way though.
So the arm one goes always first in, and then the head one goes on top.
Yeah. I mean, the truth is they're usually side by side nowadays. You know what I mean?
Because
So if they're side by side, you should remember like which one is the arm, like you have a system, like it's always on the right side or whatever. This way you won't make a mistake.
Take out the arm always first.
Right. This way you won't have an issue with that. What I do also, I do another thing. I wrap it differently, different way. So I can see which one is the arm.
Yeah,
Because I wrap it differently. You know what I mean? So that also helps me to avoid that problem. So okay, so he says, right, that דרך אגב, לגבי תפילין, אם פגע בשל ראש תחילה, יסלקנו מן של תחילה, כמו שהתברר בסימן כ"ח, we're going to explain later on. That's why you got to do it. If you, by mistake, you took the rosh first, you got to put it aside and put the first head beyond, the yad. Shani hatam, this is different over there. Why? Because in the pasuk, it first says the tefillin of the hand, and then the tefillin of the rosh. So therefore, the hand has to come first. You know what I mean? That's already something else. מקרא דכל זמן שבין עיניך יהיו שתיים. ומשום הכי מוטב שיעביר על המצוות ושיעבור על מה דכתיב. It's better, it says, to pass over the mitzvah in this case, than what? To transgress what it says, something that what says in the Torah, that the arm should come first. אבל האחד אין לנו מצוות ציצית קודמת. But it says here, it doesn't say in the pasuk that tzitzit comes before the tefillin. So that's already something else. It's just it's an illusion. It's an illusion, the verse. Therefore, it says it's better to push aside this illusion than to pass over the mitzvah altogether. So, wow, that's an incredible thing. By the way, sometimes I do put tefillin without putting talit. You know when that is? If I just want to study with it. You don't need talit for that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if I just want to put on tefillin and study, study Torah, I don't put talit. That's a different story.
So you could be with
But for prayers, I'm talking about. Yeah.
You're saying you could actually wear the tefillin for a good portion of the day, studying with it?
Yeah, I mean, today we don't do that, but
If you want.
but some people, what they do is, people who are like very devout, people, religious, they put on tefillin to study Torah, like for, let's say, a half hour, something like that, right? It's considered to be a very good thing. So you're not obligated to do that, but
You gotta control your thoughts, though.
yeah, of course, you have to be in control. You have to be master of thoughts. All right, yes, of course.
Dangerous stuff.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so good. Let's go on. So okay, we're doing Shulchan Aruch, Aleph.
What is that?
We just did the Bet Yosef. Now we're doing the Shulchan Aruch. To sum up this whole thing, right? The Shulchan Aruch is like a sum up. It's like a condensed version of the whole thing, We call that in Hebrew kitzer. It's a kitzer, Okay.
Rabbi, I was asked for someone back in the old country if there is anything in Russian or in the other language translation for the Beit Yosef.
If there's a Russian translation? Oh, I doubt that very much. No. I don't think anybody has ever translated Bet Yosef to any language.
I know there is no English.
Yeah, I think they started with the English. They have like some of it done, but definitely not all of it. Yeah.
I have a question. The Chabad taught me, and also, Boria, Koren. Yes, my wife's uncle.
Boria?
Boria?
Oh, Boria, the Rabbi.
Yeah. So they told me basically, so it's going to be 4 strands over here, 3, and the shin, and then over here the shin. So there's always 4 and 3, right?
Oh, I don't know why I told you 4. Why didn't you just say 7?
This is what I understood even from Chabad.
What is this 4 and 3 business?
Because you have to, 7 is a mystical number in Judaism.
Ooh.
So you tell me what is the proper thing?
They go
4,
8, right?
because you wrap it 4 times, and basically 7. It has to have 7.
I think in the Shulchan Aruch, we're gonna get to it pretty soon, by the way. But Shulchan Aruch, I think it says 6 or 7. That's what it says.
So
But
is it
according to
6 or-
Kabbalah, it's supposed to be 8. And you know why that?
Because there's a half over here, then
Yeah.
it's a full 4.
That's what I'm saying. You have
full
halves.
Then half here.
Right.
So
You have halves. So you really shouldn't count the halves. Therefore, it's better to put 8. In order to fulfill the obligation. We're gonna get to that, Hashem, pretty soon. But anyway, right? if you did 7 or 8, you're good. You know what I mean? Just a matter of different customs. You know, different. I personally do 8. You know, that's what I do. Yeah.
Who's 8 is
Yeah.
above 7. It's the
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, whatever.
it's like the 8th day of a Brit
Okay.
Milah.
Okay, right. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good to me. Whatever you guys say. So, God bless you. All right, so let's go to Shulchan Aruch. We're gonna get to that, Bezrat Hashem. We're gonna get to it. 7 is good. 8 is good. No problem. So it says in Shulchan Aruch. By the way, you should know that dafka, those windings that we do, they're not really an obligation, those so much. You know, like in other words, even if you skipped it and just like went down, you still did the mitzvah of tefillin. It's just like hidur. It's like a, you know, it's like a best way to do,
What?
to put those windings around the arm.
Well, that's what we
The
do.
most important thing is this one
Yeah. the
and
shin.
over here, right? This thing.
Yeah.
But here is just, it's optional more like, you know. That's that was, yeah. It's not really such an obligation.
I thought this was optional too.
No.
What?
The
This
finger.
one is obligation. Those 3 over here. Verastich li leolam, verastich li, verastich, verastich, verastich.
Hashem.
Those are obligations. The Rambam says.
Yeah.
But
Committing yourself.
yeah, but here this stuff is not obligation. That's why, you know, I think there's also opinion that we're going to see in the Rosh. You know, at least to skip that altogether. Like just
Everybody I see do it. Everybody.
yeah, everybody. It's a custom. You know.
do
I mean, yeah, of course. Yeah, we all do it. But the bare bones obligation, it seems like it's not so much that. You know. Okay, we're gonna see that Bezrat Hashem later on down the road. Let's kick the can down the road, as they say, right? Okay. Okay. That's what the politicians do. We got to do the same thing as them. You have to learn from them. Almost.
Oh no.
You know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Let me go there.
Let's not go there, right? Exactly. You're right, absolutely. Okay, so achar shelavash talit metzuyat. So he said after he puts talit tzit, yanech tefillin, then he puts tefillin, right? As we said. Shema'alin b'kodesh. So what's the reason why? So he doesn't say the reason we saw in Beit Yosef. He says because we go up in kedusha. In other words, the tefillin is more kadosh than tzitzit. That's what it is. You know, it's more holy. As we said, right? Tzitzit is not really holy. It's just a mitzvah. There's no holiness there. You know what I mean? So tefillin is more holy than tzitzit. You know, because tefillin is very holy. You know what I mean? That's the holy stuff there. You know.
Because even said in the Rabbi when I first started out, he
Uh-huh.
told me that you don't have to even put on tzitzit. As long as you put on the tefillin, that's a 2-minute prayer. Back 20 years ago when I first started.
Yeah, what they're saying is like this. You know, you don't have to put tzitzit in order to fulfill the obligation of tefillin. It's
Right.
two separate mitzvot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the proper sequence is, as we said, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the proper sequence.
Right.
If you're at home, you know, in your comfort of your own home,
Yeah,
or the synagogue, right? Not outside in the Chabad stand, you know, in the
yeah.
airport, right? That's already something else. Right?
Yeah.
You're in a hurry. You may miss your plane if you put on talit.
Yeah.
So that's a different story. Okay, God bless. So as we said, right? Yeah, מניחים כיס התפילין בטלית צריך לתוך כיס אחד. So he says, if you're putting the tefillin and the talit in one bag, צריכים להיזהר. You gotta be careful שלא יניחו כיס התפילין למעלה. Don't put the tefillin on top. כדי שלא יפגע בהם תחילה. Why? Because we don't want to touch them first. We don't want to do that. להסתרך, and therefore now we'd have to do what? להניחם קודם talit. You have to put them before talit. But that would have, you have to do that. There's no choice. כדי שלא יעבור המצוות. Why? Because you shouldn't pass over the mitzvot. So says the Rama, Haga, miu ima tefillin mezumanim biado. But he says if he already has the tefillin in his hands, he doesn't have tzitzit now, right? In other words, let's say they have to bring it for him, you know, he left it somewhere, right? So they have to drive it over, you know, whatever. They're driving it. Meanwhile, he's late, you know, he's running late, so he wants to put on the tefillin already, and he doesn't have time to wait, you know. So and tzarich lehamtin al tzitzit. You don't have to wait for tzitzit. In other words, if you don't have tzitzit in front of you, you can put the tefillin first. That's pretty, you know, that's pretty clear. You know, unless you're a big Kabbalist, you know, you don't want to, you know, mess around with those worlds, you know, uproot your worlds, you know. We're not on the level. We're not exactly there. But right, whatever, right? Okay. So it says, it says Rama, you don't have to wait. And when they bring the talit, you can put the talit after the tefillin. You don't have it, you know, when you're putting it on. That sounds reasonable, you know. At least according to the pshat, right? According to Kabbalah, this is not going to work. You know what I mean? It's not going to go. You know, but it's okay. Well, it's okay. You know. Not the end of the world. right? Whatever.
Rabbi, practically speaking, if you have a small bag and
Right.
you put the talit on top now, but in order to get it out,
Right.
you still need to kind of hold the bag of the tefillin so it doesn't come out as well, and to pull out the talit.
Right. That's going to be a problem because once you touch that bag, you know what I mean, you're going to have a problem already.
What about from the main bag? You hold the tefillin not to get it out. Like it's the
I'm
the
not
outer-
exactly sure what you're
so you
trying to say.
You have the outer bag,
Right. Yes. Yes.
and then you have
The inner bag. Right. Yes. Of course.
So you use the outer bag kind of to get to push the.
Hopefully,
tefillin.
you won't get to that. This kind of pathetic situation. If you know what I mean. This you could do. This you could do if an emergency situation. But lechatchila, this is not a solution. You know what I mean? Obviously, right?
One important question. If you were in the airport and you have to go to the bathroom and you have
Oh.
the tefillin, I found out that as long as it's bagged in the plastic and then in that material case.
Yeah.
Closed inside your bag, you're technically allowed to go inside the bathroom, because where are you gonna leave the bag?
Yeah. If you're double bagged, you're good. If you're doubled.
Because mine has the material pouch and then the plastic, right?
You're good. You're good. You can take that in the bathroom. No problem.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good.
Is that
That's a good thing.
Yeah, there's no problem. If you need to, I mean,
Yeah, if you.
otherwise, you want to take it in the bathroom for what? Just to keep it there.
If you gotta use the bathroom in the airport, you have nowhere to leave it.
Right. Otherwise, it gets stolen. Never know what's going to be. The airport,
feels wrong?
What about the
Sorry?
cemetery? Let's say, I did my services here, then I have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
pay respects.
Okay.
Is it okay?
Obviously, you should take off the tefillin. Yeah, you can put it,
It could be in my car while I'm there.
it could be in your car, so it could also be in your hands. If you want to hold it in the bag, go walk through like that.
So it's okay.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. As long as you don't show it to them, to those dead bodies, right?
Can I show the teeth?
Those
or-
cadavers, right? Exactly. You know that, right? Okay, good. They don't like the cadavers. Don't like that stuff.
They can have public stuff.
Exactly. Okay, very good. So that's that. We're finished with Aleph. Let's go to Bet. So I think we're going to do here also the Shulchan Aruch Bet, right? Because we already did the Bet Yosef, according to what you said, right? Or did we? No, we did the tour, right? But yeah, right. Maybe Bet Yosef we didn't do. Let me check that. Yeah, we have to do Bet Yosef. I'm sorry.
Bet.
Yeah, yes. So it says like this, right? It says the proper way. First, bless on talit katan, right? As we said, some of us don't do that today. We don't bless on talit katan, right? Then put tefillin shel yad of the hand, the shel rosh, and then the head. Then comes to shul. Then put the talit gadol. You filled your obligation with Rabbi Shimon Yochai, but not the Arizal, right? That's why we don't do it today like that. The Arizal doesn't agree with that, right?
You have to do the prayer on, so usually they say if you put on the head, the prayer, but on the head, you still need to do the prayer because they say unless you talk
Which prayer are you talking about?
on the rush.
Oh, the Ashkenazim they say a bracha for the head.
But what about?
We do not.
Only on the arm,
Two different customs, right?
on the arm.
Yeah.
I do it like you guys, because this is how I-
Okay, you must be a Kabbalist because according to Kabbalah, that's the way it's supposed to do.
No, because this is the way a community does it, that's what I've learned.
I see what you mean. So what about your father? Was he religious? Is he religious?
My great grandfather was our rabbi.
Oh, your great grandfather. Interesting.
My father.
What's the family name?
Belenki.
Is that the original name? From which country is that?
Right.
Oh, I see. Anyway, let me tell you something interesting, right? That does your father keep anything or what?
Very hard.
Very, very hard.
My grandfather was keeping,
yeah.
my great grandfather.
The reason why I tell you that because there's a trick, I'll tell you what a secret, big secret. If your father wasn't religious, you could change your custom to Sephardi if you want.
I do mostly.
But try to be consistent, you know what I mean? Like in other words, you got to do one or the other,
I do what the Georgians do.
Okay, so you're Sephardi, you're pathetic Sephardi because there's a mixture, you know what I
That's a
mean?
mixture.
Yeah, that's you know what I mean? And the reason why they have a mixture is because it came Chabad, to them and changed their customs. This is what happened. So, it happens in many countries, by the way, this whole thing. Happened in Morocco, happened in Bukhara, happened in Persia, everywhere. It's a whole big problem, it's a whole big issue. Anyway, right, all right, we should be able to straighten it out. Bezat Hashem. Okay, so as we said, right, so you could get away with that. To be a Georgian, yeah. But even better is to be like a real Sephardi, in other words, the whole way, 100%. Whatever, whatever. Okay. It's not going to be a hybrid model, what I mean? Either here or there. Either you're gas powered or electric powered.
My Siddur is Ashkenazi, but
Oh, okay.
I mean, I do
Yeah.
the best I can.
Yeah, well, if you get more serious about it, what I mean, like become like really, big.
I'm
Yeah.
serious.
You gotta get. So if you are, you gotta go like one way, like just take a curve,
I'm doing
Go
more like you guys.
either exit 36 or exit 37. I mean, one or the other.
I do more like you guys.
God bless you. Okay, whatever. Okay, so good. I taught you a good trick there.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, Baruch Hashem, what you did was actually allowed. I guess God, gave you a signal from heaven.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. There's many others like you, by the way, who've done these things like this. I've met several of them. Okay, anyway, right, whatever it is, just don't do me a favor. Don't take a Georgian in the last name because I won't be able to pronounce it. So don't.
It's gonna be like it's really.
Okay. You don't have to go that far. Okay. All right. So as we said, right, ובזה יצא ידי חובה רבי שמעון יוחאי, שכתב בספר הזוהר, whatever בספר הזוהר, פרשת בית חנן, over there, שצריך שיהיה לבוש ציצית ותפילין, בצאתו בפתח ביתו. So it says Rabbi Shimon, right, in the Zohar, when you go out of your house to go to the shul, you should be wearing already talit and tzitzit, right? Ready to go, right? Ready for action. In other words, he doesn't want you to put it on the shul. He wants you to put it on home and walk to the shul like that.
Actually, see you do that.
Yeah, I do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do it, yeah.
But
God
I
bless.
see some people, but
Not everybody does that.
yeah.
It's a it's a chumrah, a little bit. It's not really the halacha so much. It's yeah.
You're gonna be proud of who you are.
But the Zohar praises this a lot. Like it's considered to be like, oh wow, it's a big deal in Zohar. This thing.
Because
It's a big deal.
I see it on Shabbat, but I thought the problem was a roof.
Ah.
Did not believe there was a roof.
Oh, I see. Right. The truth is, the Kaf HaChaim says, I saw the Kaf HaChaim, something interesting. He says, Dafka on Shabbat, you don't have to put talit when you go to shul.
on Shabbat,
This is it's only on weekdays, he says. Going to Kabbalah, he says. Interesting, right?
But I've seen you on Shabbat.
I do put it. I just do it for convenience because I don't want to, like I want to just when I come into the shul, I want to be ready to go. Just it's better. I don't want to carry it in my hand. I don't like to carry stuff in my hand.
Downstairs?
Yeah, we have a minyan downstairs, next minyan, early minyan. We have the early one.
No, so they do it here and somebody else does it there.
Now downstairs there's two minyanim. There's a net and there's a 9 o'clock.
Do you need one of them?
The first one.
What time? On Shabbat.
We're starting like 6:15, 6:30. Whatever. It's pretty steep. You're gonna have to give up your Shabbos menucha, if you know what I mean. Yeah. All right.
The chulent was good. Tasted it, but I smelled it.
It's quite taxing on the body, I must tell you. Like when I go home after, the minyan is over, which is about 9 o'clock in the morning. I get home like 9:30, and I just sit there and I start to like learn. I want to learn until we eat the seudah, until 11, let's say, whatever. And I fall asleep. I always fall asleep. Never, so this, what happened to me? I fell asleep. I woke up. It was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I fell asleep for 3 hours because I was so tired. Just on a chair, like, can you imagine being on a chair for 3 hours? It's incredible. Look at this.
Because over here, they do services here. They do the morning and the afternoon all at once. They finish by usually at 12 over here.
You think it's the afternoon, but that's not the afternoon. They're doing just the musaf, right? The musaf is not the afternoon,
The
right?
Musaf is
Musaf. The afternoon prayer really is a mincha, you know what I mean? The truth is, musaf, you're right. It's like close to the afternoon, but it's really like, just, it's what we do in the morning. One next to the other. And then mincha we do afterwards, right? So on Shabbat there's 4 prayers instead of 3. You know what I mean?
There's the morning.
There's the shachrit and then musaf, and then mincha, right? It's 3.
It's like a late afternoon,
Right, late afternoon. You can also do early afternoon if you really want to.
and then there's the evening. after Shabbat.
Exactly, Arvit, right, exactly. Okay, very good. So, Uman de Ayah lebek nishtal the kedem nafik mitah. That's what it says in the Zohar. Whoever comes right to go into the shul, you should go out of his gates. He says, when he goes out from his gates, he doesn't have tefillin and tzitzit. Ve'amar eshta chaveh lecha l'kodshecha b'iratecha. He comes to Hashem and says, I want to bow down to you in your holy sanctuary, right? He comes to Hashem. No tefillin, no tzitzit, right? To the shul. Says this is the Zohar, right? So Hashem tells him, Anhu morai. He says, where's my fear? You come and say, you fear me. Where's your tefillin? Where's your tzitzit? You're coming into my house without these things? So he's mad at you a little bit, you know what I mean? According to Kabbalah, this is the way it is. It's morai. V'da asid asahadut ad shikra. So he says also he's like testifying falsely about himself. Adkan. That's the Zohar. V'kachem divrei Rabbeinu Yonah. Also the Rabbeinu Yonah, the Sefer Hayirah, katav ve'yeh lo talit katan ve'ilbash oto miyad ve'lo bracha. So it says, now we're getting to the other custom, right? Rabbeinu Yonah says, put talit katan with no blessing, right? Like a lot of us do, right? Most of us, right? Im lo rachatz yadav, if you didn't wash his hands. Oh, that's what he's saying, right? Don't make a blessing if you didn't wash your hands. That's something else. Katav ve'ilchatz b'kinikayon kapav ve'orech miyad ala mitzvat tzitzit. And then blows tzitzit after he washes his hands. But talit shelabash, with talit that he brought, Im lo berach betatfo, if he didn't bless when he put it on, then he puts tefillin. He also says, right, you should come to the shul with talit and tefillin, ready to go, right? Ready to go. Im yesh lo od talit v'katzchenu be'o. Says if he has another talit, he can put on the shul. Then he blesses betatef and tzitzit. Okay, very good. That's the way, right? Okay, let's look at the Shulchan Aruch, and we're done, I guess. Whatever, we'll see.
How come there's 2 different prayers for that? When you're putting on the tzitzit, you'll say on mitzvot tzitzit, and when you do the big one, it's
Right.
the tzitzit.
Yeah, we covered that, by the way, when we were learning this. The reason why is because litatef means to wrap yourself, and with a katan, you don't really wrap yourself. It's too small, you know? You just like put it on like a t-shirt. You know what I mean?
So that means to wrap yourself.
Right, wrap litatef, yeah. All right, very good. Good question. All right, there you go. So let's go on.
We did that.
Right, we got to do Gimel, right? I'm sorry, Bet and Gimel.
Dalet.
Right. Yeah, Dalet we're not going to do today, probably. Okay, so we'll do Bet and Gimel, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, no, just Bet, right? Basically,
Just Bet.
just Bet, yeah.
Shulchan
All
Aruch.
right, Shulchan Aruch, yes. So it says like this, right? Misha who's zahir b'talit katan. Whoever is careful to put talit katan, you b'sheno v'yaniach tefillin bebeto. So he says he should wear it and put tefillin in his house, as we said, right? V'yelech v'levush b'tzitzit b'mukhtar b'tefillin. He also says, right, go to shul with your tzitzit and tefillin on already. You know, v'levetach k'nesed. V'sham itatef b'talit gadol. Then put talit gadol over there. Now the custom is not like that, right? Put talit gadol. We put talit gadol in the house, right? According to the Arizal, right? So therefore, you know.
So so
As he went to Spanish Mekubalim, right? So he's a Spanish guy, you know, Spaniard. He was a Spaniard, but we go according to the Arizal. Therefore, we put the Talit Gadol before the Tefillin. Okay, very good. So says the Rama, but he does agree you should go to the shul with tzitzit and Tefillin, right? That agrees.
Mhm.
So says the Rama, ve'olam nahagu letatef ap Talit Gadol kodem. Look what he says, right? Just like I told you. He says the minhag is to put talit gadol first, before the tefillin, right? Then to bless on it. So it seems like he saw the Arizal. I'm not sure about that, but no, it was a custom like that. Then he puts tefillin. So he also agrees, right? First put on your tefillin, then go to shul. So it's agreed, right? Kabbalah, Rama, Maran, put your tefillin on before you go to shul. Okay, the truth is, right, I'll tell you guys one story and I'll finish here. Right, that they said that Maran Rabbi Danielov used to come into the shul with tefillin. I always saw him. Yeah, my rabbi, the great rabbi. So he wasn't only my rabbi; he was everybody's rabbi. I'm just selfish guy. I can't call him my rabbi. Selfishness. Okay, he's all mine. Give it to me. Don't touch my rabbi. So we got. He used to come in with tefillin always, and never came without tefillin into the shul. That's for sure, right? But they say Cham Ben Zion Abashol, who was his chavuta, when they were younger, he used to come without tefillin, So they asked him, they said, why do you do it this way? It says, everywhere like that, you should come in with tefillin. So he says, I'm afraid, it's in the street. There may be some, ladies who are not dressed properly. He says, I don't want to see them with my tefillin on, So that was the reason why he avoided that. The truth is, today it's not such a big problem when you come in early because there's nobody's out in the street yet. Like I come out 7:00, the street is empty. There's nobody there. It's half dark, right? Exactly, half dark. And so there's really nobody there. But
Winter time you can be safe.
the truth is, that if you really want to be strong, even if there are ladies who are not dressed properly, we just look away. Don't look at them. I mean, if you're strong enough to do that, not all of us are strong enough to, do that, right? Some of us, the flesh is weak, as they say, right? The flesh is weak. So, okay, very good. I guess we'll stop there, guys. Chazak Baruch, thanks for coming. Good to see you. I hope to see you tomorrow with Hashem or the next day you can come.
I'm really.
Thank you, ladies. God bless you.
Thank
Nice
you
to have
so
you.
much. Thank you.
Sorry, what do you say?
I'm really impressed because my brother-in-law Ruben, he told me you guys were good friends back in the past.
Yeah, he's my buddy. Ruben is my buddy.
Yeah,
I love him.
You used to listen to rock music.
What do you mean used to? We still listen to it.
Yeah, he was probably telling me you probably still listen to Uriah Heep.
What do you mean? What do you mean used to?
You still listen
What's
to
this
it?
used to business?